what if I told you that WWE is not just revisiting its past, but quietly rebuilding the most dominant faction of the modern era right in front of our eyes? And most people still haven't fully realized it yet, because if you really pay attention to what's happening around Roman Reigns right now, this doesn't feel random, this doesn't feel accidental, this feels like long-term storytelling, the kind WWE only commits to when they are trying to build something massive again, something that can carry the company for years. And yes, we are talking about the Bloodline, but not the same version, not a copy, something more calculated, something designed not just for dominance, but for the future of WWE itself. To understand why this matters so much, we need to go back to when WWE last truly felt unstoppable, around 2021 and 2022, when Roman Reigns wasn't just a champion, he was the entire show, the tribal chief, the centerpiece of WWE programming, and everything revolved around him. And the moment he aligned with Paul Heyman, everything changed. His character became deeper, more serious, more believable, and for the first time in years, Roman Reigns felt like a final boss, someone untouchable, someone above everyone else on the roster. Then came the Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso, who elevated themselves from just being a tag team to becoming a crucial part of storytelling, especially Jey Uso, whose emotional conflict with Roman became one of the strongest story arcs WWE had done in years. And that's where the Bloodline started becoming something bigger than just a faction. It became a family drama, a power struggle, something that felt real, something fans could emotionally invest in. And then WWE added another layer with Sami Zayn, and this is where things reached another level entirely, because Sami brought unpredictability, humor, emotion, and eventually heartbreak. And suddenly the Bloodline wasn't just dominant, it was relatable. Fans were laughing with Sami, feeling for him, and when the betrayal happened, it hit harder than most wrestling moments in recent history. And then with Solo Sikoa joining as the silent enforcer, the group finally felt complete. Every member had a role, every role had purpose, and the storytelling felt cohesive. And what followed was historic dominance. Roman Reigns holding the championship for 1,316 days, the Usos dominating the tag division, and WWE finally having a consistent long-term story that kept fans invested week after week. And during this time, WWE felt hot again, shows felt important, segments felt meaningful, and even casual fans were tuning in because something was always happening with the Bloodline. But what made this era truly special wasn't just dominance, it was consistency. WWE stuck to the story. They didn't rush it, they didn't randomly change direction, they let it evolve naturally, and that's something WWE had struggled with for years before this. And that's why the Bloodline era is often seen as a peak, because everything aligned perfectly. Character, storytelling, audience engagement, and business impact. But like every great storyline, it couldn't last forever. Cracks started forming, especially with Jey Uso, who slowly began questioning Roman's authority. Sami Zayn's arc reached its emotional peak, and eventually the group started breaking apart piece by piece until the dominance that once defined WWE was no longer there. And when that happened, WWE didn't just lose a faction, they lost their central narrative. And you could feel that difference. Shows were still good, matches were still high quality, but that emotional core, that long-term storytelling wasn't as strong, and WWE started experimenting, trying to recreate that magic in different ways. And this is where things didn't always go as planned. They tried positioning Solo Sikoa as a central figure, giving him more responsibility, more presence, but it didn't fully connect at the same level because Solo works best as an enforcer, not necessarily as the centerpiece. And then came newer factions like the MFTs, attempts to create that same layered dynamic, but again, something was missing: the emotional depth, the connection, the central authority figure that made everything feel important. And that's where WWE learned a very important lesson. The Bloodline doesn't work the same without Roman Reigns at the center, because he isn't just a member, he is the system, the structure, the gravity that pulls everything together. And without him, it feels incomplete. And now WWE is correcting that. Fast forward to now, and Roman Reigns is once again the champion after defeating CM Punk at WrestleMania 42. And this moment is bigger than just a title win. This is WWE resetting the board, putting their most important piece back in position, and from here, everything starts building again. We see Jacob Fatu stepping up, confronting Roman, challenging him, and once again, the concept of acknowledgement returns, because that word has always been the foundation of the Bloodline. And when Roman says that if Jacob loses, he must acknowledge him, it's not just a condition, it's a storytelling trigger. It's how WWE pulls characters back into the Bloodline structure. At the same time, on SmackDown, we see Solo Sikoa and other forces clashing with the Usos, creating tension, building layers, and slowly setting the stage for something bigger. And even though not every attempt has worked perfectly, these pieces are still important because they contribute to the larger picture. And that larger picture is very clear: WWE is rebuilding the bloodline, but this time it's not just about dominance, it's about the future. Because WWE has a major challenge right now. Most of their top stars are aging, many are in their late 30s or 40s, and while they are still performing at a high level, WWE cannot rely on them forever. So what do? They build new stars, and the best way to do that in WWE has always been through strong storytelling, through association with top talent, and through meaningful rivalries, and the bloodline is the perfect system for that, because being part of that story instantly gives a wrestler credibility. We've already seen this effect with Jey Uso becoming a main event level star, Sami Zayn reaching peak popularity, and Solo Sikoa gaining recognition, and now WWE can repeat this process with a new generation. That's where talents like Trick Williams and Obafemi come into play, rising stars who can be inserted into high-stakes storylines with Roman Reigns and instantly feel important, because facing Roman isn't just another match, it's a moment, it's a spotlight. And then there's the potential addition of someone like Jacob Fatu, someone who naturally fits into the bloodline narrative, someone WWE can build as a future cornerstone, and if used correctly, this new version of the bloodline can become a platform for creating multiple stars, not just supporting Roman, but eventually replacing him at the top, because that's the real difference this time. The old bloodline was about control and dominance. The new bloodline can be about evolution and transition, about building the next generation while still maintaining the power structure. And if WWE executes this correctly, every feud Roman Reigns has during this reign can serve a dual purpose, telling a compelling story in the present while building stars for the future. And that's how you create long-term success. But this is where the challenge comes in, because recreating magic is never easy, and WWE has already seen what happens when certain elements don't connect, and if they rely too much on nostalgia, it could fail, because fans don't want a copy, they want progression. So execution becomes everything, pacing becomes everything, character development becomes everything, because if WWE rushes this, it will collapse. But if they take their time, if they let stories breathe, if they build relationships and rivalries naturally, then this new bloodline could reach incredible heights, and maybe even surpass the original, because now WWE understands what made it work. They understand the importance of consistency, emotional storytelling, and long-term planning, and if they apply those lessons, the potential is massive, because right now the pieces are there. Roman Reigns is back on top, the story is rebuilding, new stars are waiting, and the audience is ready. All WWE has to do is execute it properly. So now everything comes down to one simple question: can WWE actually reach that same peak again? Can they recreate that level of engagement, that level of storytelling, that level of dominance? Or was that era truly once in a lifetime? Because if they succeed, we might be witnessing the beginning of another historic chapter in WWE history. But if they fail, it will only remind us how special that original bloodline era really was. So what do you think? Will WWE be able to achieve the same peak they had a few years ago? Let me know in the comments below.